30-30 in my hand, DEA detective that got me cuffed on that ambulance.
Oh hey guys, glad you could check in for another review. Oh yeah, just ignore what's going on in the background. It's just that right as you're seeing this video, I'll be in the middle of a goddamn hurricane. Better yet, how about we just move to a better location for this video? Gary, Indiana, a place so dog shit you can smell the crack and dead bodies from here. But it's good that we popped up here, because for today's video we gotta talk about Freddie Gibbs' latest album Sold Separately. Being his first solo project since 2018, this time tapping into another slew of producers and some interesting features to make this one of the more solid projects of 2022. Alright, so going through this album, I can say I'm pretty impressed to see how Freddie can really be so versatile, still being able to deliver some quick hard bars all over these tracks, and give some solid storytelling, mainly diving into having to sell drugs before he got big into hip-hop, his bravado, and the old mentality that he had to change as he got older, such as on the track Rapid Vision, seeming to be the more poetic of the tracks on this album. But I will say though that I'm not the biggest fan of Freddie singing choruses, especially on the track Pain and Strife, being one of the weakest tracks on this project in my opinion, alongside the even more forgettable Offset feature that didn't really do too much to help Freddie's rapping, which was disappointing since I always felt like those two collaborating would be amazing thanks to their rapping styles. But hey, at least the chorus was catchy. But I do have to acknowledge the track Zipper Bags being this more hard-hitting, bass-heavy track that I feel completely outdid the majority on this project, and being one of my favorites with this more gritty energy and strong delivery from Freddie. But there was also some narration from this British lady to help get through the album, alongside this theme of a high-rise casino and then going into its eventual destruction near the end of the album. And I thought that this was a pretty interesting piece to make for a theme, with the narration not really being overdone to completely annoy me, alongside some little cameos from big names such as Scott Storch, Joe Rogan, and Jesus himself to make this project a lot more well-rounded. But as for the production, as stated before, it was filled with tons of variety and different flavors for anyone to enjoy. We got some basic trap, some sample beats, heavy bass, and DJ Paul tapping in on the track PYS to give us some of that 3-6 Mafia production that I feel like really took over this project as well, alongside some K-Tronetta production on the track Zipper Bags with him tapping into his classic 808s, but this time straying away from the usual dance house vibe that he's more well known for. But I guess my main thing when it comes to the production on this project is just how much variety it really has, with Freddie really showing that he can spread his rapping expertise and beat selection far beyond just Madlib and Alchemist beats. I mean DJ Dahi, James Blake, and Anderson .Paak all tapping to make some solid beats, with Anderson's probably being my favorite on the track Feel No Pain, with it being one of the biggest standouts on this album, sounding so messy yet still having that kind of rhythm that you can really get into. But just because Alchemist and Madlib aren't fully produced in this album doesn't mean that they aren't on it, with him appearing on the tracks Blackest in the Room and CIA, with the former being the better out of the two, with the fire beat switch that really helped bring in this album on a strong note for me. But as for the features, we got some known collaborators such as Anderson .Paak, Pusha T, and Rick Ross, but we also got some interesting ones with Kelly Price, Moneybagg Yo, and Raekwon, with Kelly definitely being a standout for me personally, with her strong vocals at the end of the intro track Couldn't Be Done. That helps clear the song out wonderfully to make for a solid intro. But as for the other stars on this album, I would have to say that Rick Ross and Pusha T would have to be my favorites from this album as well, especially with Pusha on the track Gold Rings, with him not missing a step, either matching up or you could even say outdoing Freddie on this track. But one track I could say for sure that Freddie got outdid on was Feel No Pain, with Anderson .Paak completely taking over the beat from beginning to end, while it felt like it was Freddie and Raekwon who were the features. But at the same time, I'm not surprised since Anderson did help produce, so of course he's going to outdo everyone on his own beat. But overall, this album was solid and a good showing of skill from Freddie Gibbs. Obviously, he's proven himself to be a top tier rapper for a while now, but the reception made it seem like he was only being carried by Alchemist and Madlib beats. But now that he's gotten back into his own music, although it isn't as strong as his collabs, he's still able to deliver nearly, if not just as good. So to put this on the scale, I'm giving this a high 7 out of 10. Not being album of the year for me, but still sitting in the honorable mentions. But how do you guys feel about Freddie's latest album? What would you rate it? Let me know down in the comments by liking and subscribing, follow my IG and Twitter, and follow your artists as well if you like the illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you on Monday when I teach myself how to swim out of 15-foot waters. Peace.